Right, to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Douala. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. Our Magistrates right away, few days to Christmas. Several people in Bonatibong here in Douala say they are still stranded and homeless after their houses were demolished some time ago. The victims in a meeting today insist that they will stop at nothing until justice is served. And in Kumba, in the southwest region of Cameroon, the Christmas fever is still to be felt. The people of Kumba complain of not only hardship but also insecurity. Besides, Christmas Day is on Monday, which happens to be a ghost town day in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. And over in Tokombere in the far north region, an uneasy calm now reigns in the area after at least 6 persons were killed in a bloody confrontation between two communities. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. We begin this edition of the news with these elements from Bonatibong here in Douala, where some persons there whose houses were demolished some time ago say they are going to stop at nothing until justice is served. They were speaking during a conference they organized in Bonatibong here in Douala, and our reporter Lucy Liengu Esia was there. She now tells us more.
Business persons in the city of Douala are expressing grave concerns over frequent parkade. Those operating in a printing press in Aqua complain of incurred losses.
Here we have light issues. It's been going on for about 2 months, on and off light issues, and we are forced to use a generator. Due to petrol scarcity, it's really costly. Not all the machines can support the printing, so it's really difficult for us here. We find it very hard to work without light.
In order not to lose their clients, they are obliged to make use of a standby generator, which is very costly.
It's really costly, and it makes our clients not to have confidence in us. Most of them think we are not serious due to not being able to meet up to their demands. We use 20 to 30,000 francs on petrol, depending on the printing which we have to do.
The situation is not pleasant for Victor, who equally says getting fuel is difficult.
Now, one of the issues that we also have, even related to the fuel too, is that they don't accept to sell fuels in gallons. And so it is very difficult. The other day I went all around town trying to buy fuel in a gallon, but it was not possible.
The noise from the generator contributes to health problems.
Since we use generators too, there's serious noise pollution. At times, when you work with the generator, by the time you leave the office, you are extremely tired.
Business persons and inhabitants of the city of Douala say the reoccurrence of power failure is getting out of hand, and if nothing is done to remedy the situation, it will weaken economic activities.
We sincerely apologize for that mix-up ourselves. That was what I report still by Lucy Liengu Esie on the adverse effects of power rationing in the city of Douala. And just to let you know, viewers, that Globelec, which is a structure closely working with NEO, the electricity distribution company in Cameroon, say the recent power rationing was because they suspended their activities with NEO because of unpaid bills by NEO. Globelec says, however, they will resume the activities so Cameroonians can celebrate end-of-year festivities in peace with electricity. And still talking about Christmas, less than 5 days to Christmas celebration, the atmosphere looks really gloomy for inhabitants of Kumba in the southwest region. The population blame it on rising insecurity and the low purchasing power, which is making life extremely hard for them. Immaculate Fogwe visited the Kumba main market and now reports.
Many families in Kumba, chief town of the Mehmet Division, southwest region, risk not being able to celebrate Christmas and New Year due to hardship coupled with the over 7-year-old crisis that has crippled the economy. Visiting the Kumba main market, traders complain of a drastic drop in sales.
There's hardship, there's crisis, there is financial breakdown for everybody. So people cannot purchase what they want. Their purchasing power is very limited. People cannot meet up with their purchasing powers. They cannot meet up with what they want to buy because there's no money. Things in the market are very expensive, more than they expect. And so that's why I'm thinking that this year is worse than last year.
Too hard for us by the roadside. That's for this particular year. Things are not moving as it usually be. But since we don't have an option, we are just still managing. 3 for 1 cow. And the buyers are not buying like they used to buy. So if you look at our business, our tacos, majority are still down. That is many only few days. So it is so difficult for this particular year.
Madam Aker, a trader at the Kumba main market, laments over the fact that the security situation has forced civil persons to abandon their farms for their safety. Farmers are unable to supply us with foodstuffs because of insecurity. Previously, we used to get a bundle of arrow for 150 francs. Now it's sold to us at 200 francs. Same with water leaf. We used to buy this bundle for 200 francs. Now it's sold to us at 300 francs. While hoping for better days ahead, the population of Kumba urged both warring parties to drop their weapons while calling on the government to resolve the crisis so peace and tranquility could reign.
And now we talk about the Martin Sogo murder affair. The new director of the General Directorate of External Research is a trained diplomat who has spent his entire career at the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon. Gumo Jean-Pierre, who has a mastery of the mystery of politics in Cameroon, was appointed alongside a gendarmerie colonel who cumulates 3 top functions in the government of Cameroon. Their appointment and dismissal of their predecessors come within the context of the Martin Sogo murder case. Let's now have more with for me, John Sander.
The decree was signed and published by President Paul Biya. The first text from the head of state appointed Gumu Jean-Pierre as Director General of the DGRE, replacing the former Maxime Ekoeko, who is on a pretrial detention at the Yaoundé Central Prison in connection with the assassination of journalist Martinez Zogo. Before his implication, arrest and detention, Maxime Ekoeko headed the General Directorate of External Research for 13 years. Now the new boss of this important institution, Gumu Jean-Pierre, who hails from the Manuel Division of the West Region of Cameroon, is a diplomat experienced in the mystery of power in Cameroon. Gumu is a graduate from the Yaoundé-based Institute of International Relations of Cameroon, IRIC, in diplomacy, and has spent his entire career at the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon. He was most recently a technical advisor to the Internal Affairs Division of the General Secretariat after having served as private secretary to the current Secretary General Ferdinand Ngongo. In the second decree, the President of the Republic also dismissed Senior Police Commissioner Munkop Mimono from his position of Deputy Director of the DGRE, replacing him with Colonel Magloire Aristide Elonu Mesmin. Munkop Mumino, before his dismissal, acted as interim officer for 8 years following the incarceration of the head of the Cameroonian counter-espionage. The gendarmerie officer, Colonel Magloire Aristide Elonu Mesmin, on his part benefits from a second presidential decree in a space of 9 months. The dismissal of Maxime Ekoeko, deputy, comes less than 2 weeks after the unsuccessful attempts to release him and Jean-Pierre Amougou Belinga from the maximum security prison in Yaoundé.
And now we're told in the headlines that an uneasy calm continues to reign in Tokomberi in the Mayo-Sava division of the Far North region. The area has been militarized after a protest led to the death of more than 6 persons that was on Tuesday. Smart Ndikan Gabriel with updates from Tokomberi.
At least 16 people are alleged to have died, 20 injured, and more than 20 people arrested by the elements of the defense forces in Tokomberi due to a confrontation between a group of persons and security forces. The council session was supposed to take place on Tuesday, but on Monday, a group of people stormed the council hall in order to stop the session, saying that the huge part of the budget voted each year gets into the pockets of the mayor and and they don't want the section to hold. The group of people accuse the mayor of taking their lands with force and giving them out. As a result of this confrontation, some government offices were also affected. Amongst them, the Gendarmerie Brigade that was scattered because the people wanted to remove some of their persons who were arrested by gendarmes. The residence of the brigade commander was also vandalized, and the vehicle of the divisional officer was broken. Other properties were also lost as a result of the confrontation between this group of persons and the forces of law and order. The forces of law and order used tear gas to disperse the angry group of people, while the group had stones in their hands. I heard it was because 2 gendarmes were molested, reasons while tempers flared. It wasn't the first time the said group of persons were contesting against the mayor of Tukumbere. Paradoxically, the mayor of Tukumbere recently received the Best Mayor Award of the Far North region.
Still talking about insecurity, back to the Littoral region. Insecurity has been gaining grounds in Loom in the Mongo division, and according to the divisional officer in Loom, this might be as a result of the non-identification of commercial bike riders in Loom. Cedric Chakutio now tells us more about the security situation in Loom.
Insecurity has been a major challenge to the inhabitants of Loom in the Mongo division. According to the divisional officer, the situation is as a result of the fact that most taxi drivers in the town of Loom are not identified or do not possess identification documents. According to him, the motorcycle sector is not organized, and this has given way for the men of the underground to commit their atrocities. In a meeting grouping bike riders, the divisional officer inaugurated the new office, which will be controlled by the president of bike riders in Loom, ensuring that the bike riders are identified.
It is my responsibility as a rider to make sure that the security of this town is guaranteed. And most especially in our sector of these Okada riders, we have some people who think that it is a place where they can just come, maybe do any type of standard and go away. But with my presence here and with my installation today, it's a promise that I'm promising them that it will be, they will get it another way around. That is, they will get it hot.
The population have been called upon to respect the measures put in place.
And now we come back to this new settlement tension as a result of a demolition exercise in the Bonadibong neighborhood in the Douala 1 subdivision. We told you a while ago that some persons whose houses were demolished some time ago say they are going to stop at nothing until justice is served. Let's now have more with Lucille Yengu Esie.
Nouvelle Route Bonadibong in the Douala 1 subdivision, families whose houses were reduced to debris are telling their own side of the story. The head of the Kuma family explains.
My mother came here in 1955 with the person who allowed my mother to come here. His name was Mr. Enanga. After his death, my parents buried the person at Njonjo. So the nephew of that person, whose name is Mr. Epe, came after years, and then on a dubious way, and a certain day, he summoned us that we should quit.
The family decry what the term as injustice, as the case has been in the hands of the government.
The lady who was supposed to defend the case, the state and us, the lady went to the administrative bench to say that the minister who cancelled this land permit was wrong. That all of his collaborators who left Yaoundé to come to Douala, all of them were wrong.
And they say they expected legal actions from the government, but rather they were chased away and their houses demolished.
The general attorney, that is the procureur general, gave us a date. The first date of the issue there was on the 11th of October. The second case was on the 13th of December, that is few days ago. and the next one will be on the 14th of February. So we are still on court bed. He said that he's going to deprive us from life.
According to a legal mind, Barrister Thankful Richard, to whom the case was presented, it is an unfortunate situation, but justice will take its course.
Into my office to brief me about the situation. I've come to the field, I've seen myself, and it's really deplorable. But I think that we should remain legalist. We should know that if we are in a country where they respect the laws, then if he's right, he will be given that right. If he's wrong, maybe the justice will tell him that you are wrong.
Equinoxe Television got in contact with the accused Dumbe Epie on phone, but he told us he wasn't ready to give us his own version.
And now we take you out of Cameroon. Voting began in the DRC today as authorities scrambled to finalize preparations in a presidential election facing logistic and security challenges after the legislative and local council elections. The presidential voting process started hours late in the capital and other parts of the country today. Babula Jonathan tells us more.
Continues in the Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election. The process has been marked by delays at several polling stations. Polls had due to open at 6 a.m. local time and close after 11 hours, but delays were reported in a number of cities. Long queues were seen at many polling stations in the capital Kinshasa and other cities as they opened about 2 hours late. Ballot papers were delayed at the last minute. After casting his vote in the capital Kinshasa, Martin Fayulu, one of the leading opposition candidates in the Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election, said the voting is only going well in Kinshasa, but it is chaos in the Democratic Republic of Congo's vast rural areas. The head of the country's Independent National Electoral Commission, CENI, Denis Kadima, later said that voting will be extended in the affected areas, but that all polling stations should be open for at least the designated 11 hours. Election officials said voting would be extended into Thursday in some areas. President Felix Tshisekedi is pitted against 18 candidates. 44 million people are eligible to cast their ballots in the election following a campaign dominated by worsening insecurity in the mineral-rich East. The United Nations, Egypt, and neighboring Congo-Brazzaville helped fly election material to remote areas in the northeastern town of Bunia. People who had previously fled violence and couldn't travel back to their home villages to vote expressed their anger by attacking a polling station and destroying voting machines before police restored order. There are some places where voting is not taking place at all because of rebel activity. The CENI is expected to announce provisional results 31st December.
And now, viewers, just to let you know that it's already Christmas at Equinoxe Television. The staff and top management went out putting the smiles on the faces of orphans and other vulnerable children here in the city of Douala. The top management, while visiting some orphanages here in Douala, financially assisted some of the orphans with tuition fees. Let's now have the details with Lucille Yengoisie.
It's another festive season. Equinoxe TV and radio, via its annual Noel and Cœur, or better still, Christmas caravan, mobilized gifts consisting of drinks, food from partners and benefactors destined to orphans in Douala littoral region. Phase 1 targeted some orphanages in the Douala 4 subdivision whose deplorable roads leading to the institution did not prevent Equinoxe delegation from locating these children in need of Christmas and New Year presents. Equinoxe team, headed by the CEO, made their first stop at the Saint Anil Marie Orphanage, accommodating 58 orphans. Sad enough, their mother, founder of the orphanage, just passed away.
Without her, I know that we will still continue. Over the years, God has been faithful, sending us people like Equinoxe TV staff to come and assist us materially, financially.
A hard PSC news received by Equinoxe delegation.
The owner of this institution have passed away. The young girl who is behind me is taking care of disability and orphan as their parents used to do.
Those saddened by the death of their mother, the digestible, invaluable and beautifying gifts offered to them by Equinoxe TV and radio brightened their looks with endless appreciation to the team for always remembering to put a smile on their faces.
Even though our mother left us, we know that people are still there to take care of us. And we pray that as the Equinoxe team keep on helping us and assisting us in our daily needs, we pray may God keep on providing for you people as you provide for us.
Our main issue here is fees. We have 24 children in primary school, 17 in secondary school, 5 in the university. And aside from that, we also have a challenge like feeding.
Equinoxe CEO, on behalf of the team, pledged to concretize this annual support at this challenging moment.
We have learned that they have a lot of problems. We have promised that we will see what we can do to help them and make sure that those children have their fees being paid in those schools.
Waving bye-bye, the Equinoxe delegation braved similar road infrastructural challenges and traffic jam to arrive the Canaan orphanage, where, without discrimination, similar gifts were offered to the orphans. To the kids and their mothers, Equinoxe TV and radio occupy a special place in their hearts.
Me and my brothers, we feel good when they come, and we wish them joy, protection, and more so.
Equinoxe, I'm grateful because this is not the first time that they are coming. We are happy for what they are doing to our children here, this orphanage.
Also present to donate gifts to these orphans were youths, all students from Mother Teresa College, an exemplary act which should be emulated by other young people in the society.
That's the age that you can teach children how to love, to go out and help. Without love, there is no God. Without God, there is no love. So that is why we always try our best to teach children how to know God and love. And that's why these children are here, to continue their loving ideas, so that when they leave the school, they will never stop loving other people.
The first phase of Equinoxe Christmas Caravan ended in the evening hours with the team heading back to base in Bonakwamo, where they are preparing for the second phase before December 25th.
Feeding or visiting the poor is one of the corporal works of mercy. And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Don't go away. Talking Points comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Today we are talking about how women can contribute to the much desired peace in Cameroon, especially in the warring regions of the country. We are talking about the northwest, the southwest, and also the east, and why not the far north regions of Cameroon. And our guest tonight is Yvonne Bimuma. She is a gender advocate. Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Now I want to find out from you concretely. Can you tell me how you think women can contribute or assist in the peace process in Cameroon?
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. As I always say, the first respondents when it comes to any crisis, women are the first respondents. Women are those who nurture humanity. And I always think that women have that soft spot to negotiate when it comes to crisis. They are the most affected in cases of crisis. Their response to such crisis comes from the heart, because like those who are mostly affected, and you know that during different crises, the rate of violence increases. 80% of the victims are again women. Even when deaths occur, the first losers are women who lost their sons and daughters to the different conflicts. So women have a primordial role to play in all the peace processes. That's why the UN could put in place, the UN Security Council put in place the UN Security Council Resolution 1325, insisting on the participation of women in all peace processes. If a resolution like that could be adopted at that level, it's because the world itself found out that women are better mediators, they are better negotiators, they are better peace builders. The men wield the guns. Women, in a very low percentage, are part of that. The men produce the guns. Who are the gun merchants? Men. Those who economically gain it all in the case of crisis are men. So women are better placed to build peace, promoting womanhood.
And now, Madam Yvonne, women we know are a majority of the population in Cameroon, yet their voices are hardly heard, so to speak. What are some of the stumbling blocks? Why are women always relegated?
It depends on how you want their voices to be heard. We are today talking about the peace building process in Cameroon. When it all began, the different crises in the extreme north, I think Cameroonian women were amongst the women who stood and raised their voices loud for the release of the Chibok girls when it was still in Nigeria. And women have been working, let's say, in the background. When you talk about women's voices not heard, it's like we, the women, we don't tell our stories. We don't write our stories. We don't clamor on rooftops the work we do. Women are 52% of the population of Cameroon. And the first national response that was public was the major national dialogue. Like women, we attended the pre-consultations. We raised our points. We gave our suggestions. But when it came to practically attending the dialogue, men were in their majority. I am amongst those who always say, it's not given power, you seize power. I always call on women, magnify your voices. Reason why we, like Cameroonian women, we assembled from the 58 divisions of Cameroon and we held our first ever Women's Peace Convention in Yaoundé. That was to say when our voices are brought together, it's magnified and it's heard. Women should not think they are relegated to the background. I call even on the media to promote women. The women will not just get up, they don't own the media houses, very few. I think one, as I know. But we cannot separate gender. We cannot separate both sexes. We want to work together with our male counterparts to bring back the peace that we all deserve. We want to work with our male counterparts to bridge the gender gap, even in political participation. Because if we have a majority of women in parliament, policies will be gender sensitive, and women will get themselves represented. The laws, too, of the land should give a quota. A quota should be inscribed as to women's participation. The world is bridging the gap. The African Union has even prescribed a 50-50 representation. Why not give a majority of the population an opportunity to be present in these instances of decision making? In these instances, all the processes, peace building processes, women can negotiate better.
Thank you, ma'am. But before we go, now, what should be done by the state, and why not the society, to give women and girls the place they deserve in achieving the much desired peace in our country?
I just concluded the state needs to mainstream gender in all public policies. We want a quota of female representation in elective positions, and why not administrative positions? I always ask this question. Women go to the same schools. They acquire the same certificates like men. But when it comes to appointments, it takes political will. In other countries, we've seen the heads of state mainstream gender by doing a 50-50. in appointments. Give women the opportunity. They are indispensable partners if Cameroon has to meet the sustainable development goals. Women are a majority of this population. I seize this opportunity to call on women that come the 2nd of January. Let's use this critical mass that we have. Go out and register. When elections come up, let's vote for lists that have women so that we have our peers representing us where decisions are made, so that decisions affecting us will be raised on such tables.
Thank you so much, Yvonne B. Mumo, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight, and hopefully the message has been passed across. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. Don't go away. Our programs continue 8 p.m., the news in the French language, and Equinoxe Soir at 7 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now, and see you again tomorrow, God willing.